Welcome back to another lesson of Adobe Illustrator. A few classes earlier, I told you guys that we're gonna talk about strokes in upcoming classes. In this class, we're gonna cover two things: line segments and strokes. In line segments, we can use strokes very well. Let's come to our computer. In previous lesson, we talked about type tool and also typography. If you guys haven't seen that lesson, I'm gonna share its link in the description, or you guys can see it in here as well. So click on it, watch typography or type tool, then come to the line segments. Now the next one is line segments. The shortcut is backslash. So if you press backslash, you guys can select your line segment. Whenever you select your line segment, there are two things you can do it in your settings. First, the properties of line segments will appear here, and you can also open the dialog box of properties. Where is properties? Here. When you click on properties, here are the properties. You can work with your line segment. Whenever you're working with line segments, it's really necessary to have your properties. Whether you work it from here or here, doesn't matter. And alignment, pathfinder, transform as well. So we're gonna work with properties and maybe with pathfinder and align as well. Let's come to our artboard. How you guys can work with your line segment. First, click and drag. Simple as that. Whenever you want to create a line, click and drag, then release. Your line is created. Whenever you release, if you guys have noticed in properties, there are a lot of other options that are available now. Before that, it was like this, nothing was there. So let's create it again. Click and drag. One way of drawing a line. Right now, it's not very well visible, so you guys can increase the stroke. Remember, lines only take strokes, no fill. If I add red color fill, because there isn't any area covered with our line segment, so fill is not visible. So there is no need to add your fill. Just go and click on this, fill will be gone. So stroke, I can increase stroke to be more visible, like our line segments should be more visible. The next thing we can do with line segments, whenever you want to draw a straight line, hold your shift, click and drag. If your mouse cursor moves as well, it will be in a straight line. If you want to do it in 45 degree, bring it here. If you want to do it in 90 degree, here, 135, 180, and 235, I don't know, or 225. So like this, you guys can create straight lines. This was the second thing. The third thing, whenever you want to create a line segment or a line, hold Alt of your keyboard, then press click and drag. Your line moves both ways. If you want to draw a line from here till here, the other side will move as well. And at the same time, if you hold shift, then it will be in a perfect line. Release it. These are the three ways you guys can work with your line segments. Then let's come to our properties of line segments. First, it's fill and stroke. You guys know about that. If you want to change its color, just go there, click on it, whichever color you select. Your line segment will take the same color you choose. Then we're gonna come to stroke. This is the width of stroke and stroke properties. Here are few things you need to know about your stroke. First, the cap. If we come here, zoom it in, then go to stroke. The cap is like this, butt cap. The second, rounded cap. When you click on rounded cap, the corners get rounded or the cap gets rounded. Or if you click on the projecting cap, then it is same like butt cap, but the length between the edge of your stroke and the line, the same width will be from the corner of your line till the edge of right side or left side, whichever side you are working with. This was the cap. Now let's come to the corners. If you come to the corner, the first one is selected. Now let's come to the second one, rounded corner. It won't work here because our line does not have any corners. Whenever we come to a thing or a line which has corners, we can work with that. For example, go to the pen tool. If you guys haven't seen pen tool lesson, I'm gonna share its link in the description as well, or maybe it will be on your screen or at the end of the lesson. You guys can watch your pen tool lesson too. Click here, then here, then come down. It's also a line, but it has a corner too. When you come back to your properties, here or here, no matter, go to strokes. First it will look like this. When you click back on your stroke, and you would see corners, rounded corner and bevel corner. If you click on bevel, it will look bevel. If you click on rounded joint or corner, it will look rounded. Then we have a line stroke. First, a line stroke to center. If you focus on your line, the stroke goes both ways, up and down, left and right, with the same distance. If you click on the align stroke to inside, the stroke you have selected will go inside, but it doesn't work here. Why? Because Illustrator doesn't know which side is inside. If you guys remember, I told you guys that there are two types of illustration we can do: open path and closed path. Open path, Illustrator doesn't know which side is inside and which side is outside, because when it is closed, then we can understand the inside and outside area. For demonstrating that, we need to go back to our rectangle tool. Now you can see the difference between this one and this one. Suppose it started from here, came here, there and there, at the end came back to the point from where we started. But in the second, it came from here, there, and then finished. With pen tool, you can also create closed path shape. Start here, go, and come back to the line or come back to the point from where you started drawing. Click on it. Now it's a closed path. Now when you click on your open path and go to your stroke, you can see these two options are off. When you click on your closed path, when you click on stroke, now it's visible. When you click on it, your stroke goes inside, and you click on the outside or align stroke to outside, it will go to outside of your shape or the illustration you have to. So these were three things about cap, corners, and align stroke. Then we have dashes. If I click on this line and go to my stroke, or here doesn't matter, click on or take the dashed line, then you're gonna give distance. How it works: first is dash, how many points you want your dash to be. Then gap, how much distance you wanna have between two dashes. First, let's make it 0 and distance or gap 4 points. Does it work? No. 14 points. Let's increase the gap more, like 34. Now you guys can see the dashes. Why it wasn't visible before? Because the dashes we had, or the distance or the gap we set for the gap dash or dash gaps, it was not enough regarding the width of the stroke. For example, if I come back here and put it 14, you guys can't see the dashes, and if I decrease the stroke width, now you can see the gaps between your dashes. And if I come here and put it 0 and then go there, put the gap 24 and cap corners rounded. Let me zoom it in. Before it was like this or like this, yeah. When I put it to rounded caps, now it's in a perfect circle. Why? Because the dashes distance or points are 0. If I put it to 5, then you guys can see the width or the length of your dashes. 15, it will increase. If 0, they are in perfect shape. Increase the width size. This is how you can work with your line or dashes or gaps between your strokes. Then we have arrowheads. We can add arrowheads to the both end. For example, click on the line first and come to your arrowhead. First arrowhead, it will look like this, and the second end, let's put this one. So this is how your arrowhead works. The size of your arrowheads depends on the width of the stroke. If you increase it, the size increases. If you decrease it, the size decreases. And if you go back to your stroke, go to the other end of the arrowhead, click on the arrowhead. There are arrowheads both sides. Now if I click on my direct selection tool, I can move it. And if I click on the, where was it, go to the pen tool, anchor point, click on here and just drag it, I can just make it rounded or bevel. We mostly covered these things. You can increase the height and width of the arrowheads from here as well, like scale it down. Then the only arrowhead of the right side or left side, it will be decreased, its size will be decreased. And if you increase or decrease the other end of your arrowhead, so you can do the same thing with the other end. You can also edit the end of your arrowhead, like it's in the corner of your arrowhead. If I click here, then it will be at the end of your arrowhead. So yeah, you can play with that. Then we have profile. Uniform is here as well, and you can see it here as well. If I click here, same things are available in profile and same things are available here too. So let's come to another line to demonstrate that. Click on this one. Now go to uniform. If I click on the second line or width profile, the same shape which has its symbol or sample, it will be applied on the line you have selected. Remember that. So this is the width profile you selected for your line. Go back to your width profile, select the other one. You can see whichever line segment you select or whichever profile width you select, it will be applied on your length line, I mean. Then this one, you can do the same thing with your arrowhead lines too. Go to your profile, click on this one. You can see first it's thin, then slowly it's got thick. Then you can increase your line segments width, or you can get rid of your arrowheads. Then your line will look like this. After uniform, we have basic brushes. Right now it's in the simple brush. When I click on it, go to my brush type, first select your line segment, then go to the basics, like the brush styles. Click on the brush, it will look like a brush stroke. There are other options too. Click on it and increase the width. You can see how your line is now. It's not a line anymore. Of course it's the line, but its shape is like the brush you have selected. These are the samples, brush samples, which are available for you. You can use them, and if you want to create them, we will also have a lesson about how to create a brush, how to create these samples in our upcoming classes. So be patient. Slowly you will learn everything. It was the line segment. Then you come to arc. Arc is same like line segment, but its shape is a little bit different. If you hold Alt, it will go both ways. Hold Shift, its shape will not be destroyed. If you have drew arc but you haven't released your mouse and hold space, then you can relocate it wherever you want, like I want it here. And the other thing, the arrow keys. If you wanna increase the roundness of your arc, just click on arrow keys, go up, it will be increased, and go down, it will be decreased, or it will come to the other side. When you drew your arc, the same property we have for arcs too. You can increase, you can round it caps, then go to the uniform, select this one, or go to your lines, choose another brush stroke or brush style, go to your stroke, go to dashes, decrease the space for 2 and 3 or 6. Then you can come to your uniform, click on this one. Now this is how it works. This is the same thing with arc. After arc we have spiral tool. If you want to draw spiral tool, or if you want to know what spiral tool is, all of them are like lines but with different shapes and different properties. How to draw them: click and drag, this is your spiral. And two things you can do with that: if you click on up arrow key, the line length will be increased. If you click on down arrow key, the line to length will be decreased. If you hold shift, it's in a perfect shape. And there's another thing in spiral tool too. If you drag it and then hold control in your keyboard, then move your mouse, you can change its style of spiral too. Now this is my spiral. I can do the same setting with spiral tool, increase the stroke width, or let's come to this one. This is how you can use the spiral tool. Then after spiral we have rectangle or rectangular grid tool. Rectangular grid tool, from its name we can understand that it provides us a grid. Click and drag. If you hold shift, it will be in a perfect shape or alignment. Or if you haven't released your mouse yet and click on up arrow key, it will increase the lines or the rows of your grid. If you click on down arrow key, it will decrease. And if you click on left arrow key, the columns of your grid will be decreased. And if you click on right arrow key, it will be increased. So let's put it like this, hold shift. Yeah. Why do we use grid? Grid to draw something or to trace something in a perfect shape or in perfect alignment. If it's in a grid or I have grid, then come and select your pen tool. I want to start from here. Now delete my rectangular tool. This is how I created this shape with the help of rectangular tool. I don't know what it is, but I tried to make something to make you guys understand how rectangular grid tool works or how necessary it is. Delete it. Let's come back to our line segment tool, and at the end we have polar grid tool. Click on your polar grid tool. Polar grid tool is same like rectangular grid tool. If you hold shift, it will be in a perfect circle. If you haven't released your mouse or the left click on your mouse and click on up arrow key, it will increase the waves or the lines of your circle. Click on down, it will decrease. Click on left, it will decrease the race, or if you click on right, it will increase the race of your line segments. Release it. This is how your polar grid looks like. Now let's click on it, increase the width, go to your uniform, click on this one, no, this one, and let's change its color. Yeah, it is enough. Then you can increase the width. Now here we can work with our pathfinder to separate all segments of our polar grid tool. We can separate it with the help of pathfinder. Click on pathfinder, shape mode, pathfinder mode. We have a lot of things here. We have trim, divide, merge. Right now we're gonna work with divide. Now it's divided. When I click on this, Whenever you work with Pathfinder and divide or trim whatever, after that it will be automatically grouped. Right click on it, ungroup it, then when I come here, see, I can separate each section of my polar grid. So this was the polar grid tool. We talked about everything about line segments. We also covered strokes. We used Pathfinder too, but it's not enough for Pathfinder. We have a lot of usage of Pathfinder in Adobe Illustrator. For Pathfinder, we're gonna have our own lesson. For now, you guys just keep it in mind that with Pathfinder, we can separate shapes, or we can divide shapes, we can trim shapes. So this was everything about line segment tool. I hope you guys understood, and I tried to teach you guys whatever was necessary in line segment tool. And if you guys have learned something, try to share it with your friends so they can take benefits from this course as well. After Illustrator, don't worry, we're gonna start another course, but I need you guys to share this video to your friends so I can understand that my course brings something to you guys, so I get motivated to record other courses. Thank you.